Fala galera, tudo bem com vocês? Recentemente saiu mais um Plat Chat, que é um podcast da língua inglesa que conta com analistas e casters do Valorant. E um dos tópicos do podcast foram as chances da Loud vencer o Masters Copenhagen. E legendamos esse trecho aqui pra vocês. Então já deixa aquele like nesse vídeo, confere se tá inscrito aqui no canal e vamos lá ver o que foi falado.
For sure. I want to talk about the rivals of Optic, and I don't mean Xerxia. I'm talking about Loud, which it's funny that when you talk about like the Optic rival, people, I mean, I guess because it's funny that it's Xerxia because they meet in the group stage, but I mean, it's actually Loud because they played in the upper final. Loud took that, and then Optic come through the lower after beating Zeta, and then win Reykjavik in 3-0 fashion against Loud. Since then, Loud have gone on to not drop a map in Brazil and not really lose many rounds either. I mean, winning 13-0s, the closest game they had was when they let Split through, which is their ban.
This was pretty close as well, the finals.
Well, I mean,
the finals had some moments where it was close, but they weren't actually in danger of losing.
They
could have let Haven Fracture run away from them, I guess. But
I mean, in the upper final, they smoked.
They smashed, man.
I mean, they've not been in danger except this is the only map that got close, and they don't play the map.
They let it through,
and they still won. So, I mean, Loud have just been flattening the competition.
They
flattening. Since Reykjavik.
No doubt in my mind that this team is still one of the favorites to win Copenhagen. There's probably going to be some people trying to pick apart the argument by being like, well, you know, you're disregarding some of the other, like the one-team regions where they are smashing their opponents. The difference is, Loud have actually fucking proven it recently at Reykjavik. They've actually, they went the distance, they went to the finals, they look like a team that can compete with the very best of the best. And I think even at the beginning of Reykjavik, they said, like, they were talking about their goals, and their goals were like champs. Their eyes are set on champions. Not even Reykjavik, not Masters 2, not any of these global events that are coming beforehand. They're using these as opportunities to have learning moments and improve as a team for the end goal being champions, which I think is... That's a killer mentality. You don't want to go up against a team like that because the pressure is off their shoulders to a degree. I'm not going to say that they can be completely without the responsibility of trying to win, but that's a dangerous team that you're up against. That's a team that's focused on. They've got their fucking Twitch stream title as losing equals learning, and they're going on a tear.
See, my exact feeling on Loud, Josh, is what you had just said about they were then Envy when they lost to Gambit at Berlin, and they lost 0-3 in the final. That they got the experience, and they can come back, you know, next time, and with that experience, perform better. And, you know, there was kind of I feel like it was sort of a similar story to some extent, too, in that at Berlin, Envy were just smoking everyone. And then in the final, Gambit just kind of, you know, had a relatively, I'm not going to say an easy victory, but, you know, it was a convincing win. It was a convincing Gambit win.
And they won on their permaban, the same way that Optic did against Loud.
The same thing. I feel like it's the same thing for Loud. And I think you could kind of see it as well, like, I remember Bala making the point that I also agree with, that was like, you know, at some point at Reykjavik, all of the Loud players, and crucially the players who had not yet played at an international event, you know, the young players like Les Auspice, they had their moments where they proved throughout the tournament that they can be god-tier players at LAN. They just did. Specifically, I think maybe more so less than Auspice, because Auspice was a demon in the finals on all the maps. But I think for some of the other guys, you know, maybe getting that experience and finding that high level more consistently through having the experience of now, you know, playing that final and losing, if they can now have the consistency at this event, I think that's one of the keys. I mean, also since then, you know, they were one of the first teams to really integrate the fade. Saucy has been playing a whole lot of the fade. And I also kind of feel that there's a similar situation with Saucy for sure, and now Pancata, where like both of them online haven't really had to do much. They're they're great support players, and they're just supporting, and they haven't really had to do much, even though, you know, they still have their moments of like, they still have crazy individual skill, but they haven't had to have huge impact in regards to their ability to frag, because you have Les playing a lot more chamber now, and you have Auspice playing a bit more chamber. And So that has provided both of them with map opportunities to just be in carry mode.
Something that Loud were a bit behind the meta on.
Yeah, they weren't playing a lot of. Yeah, they weren't playing a lot of chamber there either, and
less with Cypher playing a lot still back.
Yeah, and Sadok has also kind of been in god form on the initiator, like his Sky K and stuff. So
yeah,
I still think I think Loud I think they have a great chance to win. They're up there at the very top with the S tier teams still. Does anyone feel differently, similarly? What are you thinking, Josh, after watching Loud and beating Nip?
I mean, my concern with Loud only comes down to what the map pool looks like against truly top-tier international competition. Because the problem is with these teams, but with both Loud and DRX, neither of them have dropped a map on the entire way, and they've played every map. So it looks like they have a perfect, unbelievable map pool. They can play everything. And we thought that sucked to some degree heading into Reykjavik 2, and then it turned out that Loud actually only managed to get wins on 3 of the maps out of their entire pool at Reykjavik. They still made it all the way to the grand finals by winning very consistently on Ascent, Icebox, and Breeze, I think it was. And their bind still looked all right, but they weren't able to, get over the line against the best teams in the world. So that to me is the big question for Loud, is which of their maps are elite and which of their maps are good? Because when I'm watching the Fracture improvements, for example, they look so much better on Fracture. They were pretty shit on that map before, and they were still able to win a lot of the time in Brazil. But now they've added less on Chamber, and they're playing a very meta comp, and they understand how it works. I'm still not sure it's going to be able to beat the best teams in the world on Fracture. People like Fanatics and Paper X's and Optic and stuff like that. But that to me is a big question. Are the improvements that Loud has made to their map pool enough to win those maps against the other best teams in the world? Because that, I think, is going to push them over the line. If they can replicate the all-roundedness that they've shown in Brazil, but against everyone, then that's just insane. They're going to go on a run and they're going to be able to win. But it's hard to tell which maps they are dominant on because they're just dominant in Brazil right now.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you compare them to like Optic, who have worked Breeze into their pool, and then if they go against Loud, you're going to assume Loud will just ban Split, and then theoretically you're getting 3 maps that Optic are okay with. Because there's a good chance Loud are going to play against Fnatic. I'm just expecting these teams to be all deep in the bracket. If they play against Fnatic in a BO3, Loud are crazy on Icebox. I think they're one of the couple teams that could beat Fnatic on it. But you still don't want to play Fnatic on Icebox. They just don't lose on that map.
Yeah.
So you still don't want to have to do it, and they're going to have to,
None of the top teams
could beat them on it. They're good on it, but Fnatic are amazing on the map.
None of the other title contenders at Copenhagen have Split as their go-to map. So Loud are never banning the best map for their opponents.
Right.
They're always going to be banning a middle pool for their opponents. And that's why I'm bringing up the map pool so heavily, is because I feel like that could be the thing that ends up holding them back from the trophy or from making, the finals appearance again.
Mas e aí, qual a sua opinião sobre tudo isso? Já deixe aí nos comentários e deixe também aquele like e se inscreve no canal para não perder nada. Aquele abraço, até o próximo vídeo.